Acha, this is actually one a block diagram that representing digital computer. Okay. Now bidirectional arrow represent that arrows represent that the data flow from both sides. Okay. And this data is unidirectional, this data is unidirectional. So now this line actually the solid line it is data and the dashed line it is control signal status signal timing signal. So this type of things are actually, and this is you generated by the control unit to send this information into these devices. Okay, and data flow usually comes from input devices. It enters into memory, it stays for some time, and then it fetched by CPU into arithmetic logic unit. Actually, it is not available in ALU, it is available in CPU registers. ALU actually uses that data from CPU registers. I think you know it. And then it writes the result back into memory, and the result is again sent to output devices for display or any type of output, let's say printing like that. And control unit actually controls all the device with, okay, I mix the control into memory. This control system also controls memory. So it controls all the components. It takes the status from, or it sends the timing and control signal out to different devices. So this is how we can represent a computer system. Now for your another diagram I may write, because it will be easier for you to understand the layering inside computer system. The core layer of computer is hardware. That means if you open your cabinet, if you see any computer system, you will see that electronic devices, any mechanical and electronic type of things. So this is nothing but the hardware. And on the top of it, there is system software. Okay, better write specific. Actually, system software means device driver is there, then OS is there, device driver, then operating system, then different types of compilers. I'm not writing in too detailed form, and then there is application software. And sometimes you will feel then user in sometimes application program has some extension on it known as user interface. That means, let's say you are going to sum up two numbers or 10 numbers, 10 students, whatever. So you can write your program. There is some logic in it, but uh, some people write in very organized way that they provide some boxes for each students. In box we provide numbers. Some people write program in a clumsy way that uh, when the program runs, it does not it doesn't have any specific prompt to the user. User will be confused what kind of operation or what kind of data they are looking. So actually, this difference is nothing but the user interface. That means a part of the software that is approaching the user, end user, better to say, not any developer, end user. So we usually have found different types of user interfaces of different softwares. Usually, these interfaces are categorized as GUI and CLI, graphical user interface and command line interface. Some interfaces you know that we have to type command which has some specific syntax right now. So these are command line interface, and in GUI there are some buttons. Let's say while you are preparing any or creating any directory in Linux system, on terminal you have to write mkdir name of the directory like that. But in Windows system, if you right click on the window, you will find an option to create new directory in this way, new folder in this way you can create. So their interface is GUI, but in Linux interface is mostly CLI. So user interface is sometimes it is available as separate layer, or sometimes it is attached to application layer, because user interface has some relationship with the application. Application without application interface doesn't make any sense. Okay, and after that it is the end user. Okay, so when user communicates, it uses application program, and it communicates through software, and then hardware. Okay, so this is the layers in a computer system. You don't forget about the layers, otherwise if you miss out this scenario, it will be very difficult, because you can find that how important hardware is for a computer system. If you don't know anything about the hardware and you know about the software, maybe sometimes you will mess up, because you cannot cope with your instruction, may not always cope with your hardware. Okay. So this is very core approach. If someone studies hardware, that is mostly studied by the electronics people, and also computer science people also do some study on the hardware. But this hardware is very core system in a computer system. Without hardware, your computer system may not work. It will definitely not work. There is no scope of may not or may not be alive. Maybe. So definitely it will not work. So this layering you have to know. This is the foundation layer. On the top of it, system software, application software, and then user layer. User will communicate. Now this is up to the basic organization of computer system, but for your lab, it is necessary to know about some programming issues. Okay, because in our lab we do some C programming, and your syllabus is mostly dominated by C programming. There will be another professor in your lab who will demonstrate the C programming activities. But let me discuss some basic syntax, otherwise you will be confused. Some of you already know, because some of you have done Java programming, C programming, C++. But for somebody also, it is the first class of programming. So that's why I'm sticking to basic once again. We'll program with C language. So you know that C is a high level language. Why is this? Because C, while writing C instruction, we don't need to know about the specific configuration of a computer. Okay, how many registers does it have? How many buses does it have? What are the size of the memory? We don't have to know. So this is high level language, but sometimes we can also do some assembly programming using C. So C is in some book you will also find that C is middle level language between high level and low level, but usually C is high level language. Another feature of C programming is that it is procedure oriented. That there will be a main function in C where the execution begins, and there may be some other function which is called by the main function, maybe a function may be called by another function. So in this way actually it is built as a collection of functions. Okay, so here I use the term procedure oriented. Some book you will find function oriented, but that is technically incorrect. Some book you will also find this terminology, but this is technically incorrect because function oriented programming is something different. If you study the different style of programming, function oriented means it's a memoryless type of program, or something we can write without the knowledge of memory. That means uh, that is little bit difficult at this stage to explain, but while C programming we have to know at least that this is some information, this much of byte is allocated and this is stored here from here in this way. But in memoryless program you don't have to write anything in form of memory, just you have to write everything in form of a mathematical function. So that's why we don't call it function oriented, it is procedure oriented, but also you will find this term in some books, because at your first year you will not make any mistake if you write function oriented in place of procedure oriented. But if you are a computer science student and if you are studying in third year or fourth year, there if you make this type of mistake, this will be a serious one. Okay, whatever. So if I know that these two are the features, I think some of you have done Java. So Java is also a high level language, but Java is object oriented. I will not discuss what object oriented is because it requires very elaborate discussion, and it will confuse some of your mind also. Now, uh, in English language, I think I may erase some part of it because it looks very clumsy. When we write anything in English language, before writing, we have to know something. So writing any sentence or any paragraph, anything in English, not only English, in your mother tongue also, if you like to write anything, so you have to know alphabet. Not only alphabet, for numbering, you have to know numbers, digits, better to say. Some special symbols, maybe you have to know some symbols like this one, uh, like this one. This type of things you usually write. That is, this type of things are more or less available in any language. I am citing an example of English, but not necessarily English. For any language, these things are available. Okay. There is a specific alphabet if you are Bengali speaker or any language speaker, there is an alphabet. So from this you form word, that is nothing but a meaningful organization or arrangement of this type of things. You form paragraph, and then you form sorry, it's not a paragraph because from word it is not possible. There is an intermediate thing, sentence. Then only you can form paragraph. Okay, so this is what we use in our English language or any language, even in our mother tongue. Similarly, in computer also or in C programming, you need alphabet, digits, and symbols. So what are these? Uh, I think I know everybody knows Z, even small letters. Digits are 0 to 1, 0 to 9. Symbols are different symbols like hash, exclamation, interrogation, dollar. This type of things are available here also. So you will get to know. And now next thing is word. So there are variety of words here. There are three different types of words. One is known as keyword, another is constant, another is variable. So these are the three different words. What are these? I will explain whatever. And after word, you have to build instruction. That means just like sentence, you can find the analogy from here also. And program. Any difficulty to understand this? I believe no. Now I have to mention what these are. Keywords are. uh, Actually, variable. I know you. All of you knows. All of you know about it. Variables actually it refers to in mathematics. We have learned that the value or an entity that changes. Okay, the entity that changes, it's a variable, and constant is kind of entity that does not change. Here also the definition is almost same. Constant does not change. Let's say 5, 6, 12, 100 like that. And variable and keyword, it requires a little bit of explanation. So keyword, so some words, okay, meaning is already described in compiler. That means there are some words in C programming whose meaning is already described in compiler. Example, while, if, etc. etc. That means there are some words which are already available you cannot make any variable with these words. And variable means some entity whose value changes. Just like we have seen variables in mathematics, but here actually additionally variable has some meaning. Okay, I am going to discuss that too. An entity whose value changes, that is mathematically or from theoretically you know, but here actually it refers to memory location. Informally speaking, a memory location is used for holding some value, and here you can also, since it is a part of the RAM, you can erase that thing and you can put new value. So here location, the value in that location can change. That's why it is a variable. Okay. So in C language, we refer variable in this way. Okay. Better getting into the syntax, let us discuss some properties of variable. Unless I discuss this type of thing, we cannot understand the meaning of the program, especially who is learning C language for the first time. Okay. Name of the variable, type of the variable, location of the variable, and value of the variable. These four are the position properties of C variables. Okay. Now, what is name, what is location, what is type, what is value, I'm coming to. But before coming to, let me clear that I think you have understood everything in this page. Okay. On this page, whatever is written, I think you have understood. Let me check if it is properly saved or not. Okay. Let's say I write int a followed by semicolon. I will discuss all of these, but don't get confused. Now, what does it mean in C language? A refers to a memory variable. A is a variable. It refers to a memory location where we can store data. Okay, let's say this is A. It may contain some data. Usually, in window-based compiler, the size of integer variable is 4 byte. What is byte? Okay, it's sometimes it is difficult because some people are learning for the first time. A binary digit, I think I had discussed 0, 1. These are nothing but binary digits. So a binary digit is called as bit. A binary digit. And byte is nothing but combination of 8 bits. And 4 byte means how many bits? 4 multiplied by 8, 32 bits. Okay. And for window-based compiler, this integer, the size of integer variable is 2 byte. Okay. Whatever. Now, this is actually.
Sir, size is 2 byte or 4 byte?
Size is 2 byte for Windows-based compiler. If you are using any Windows-based compiler like DevC or Visual C plus whatever, Turbo C, so there you will find the size of integer is 2 byte. But if you use Linux compiler, then it is 4 byte. Hmm. Usually it is 4
Okay.
byte because most of the people use C language in Linux. So if you write 4 byte, that will be a safe information. Now
Okay, sir.
this stands for integer, integer variable, and this is name of the variable. So here actually, if I map the example, name is A, type is integer, and location is a memory location. Actually it is very dynamic because until I allocate I cannot say where the variable will be until the program executes, because during execution it amount of memory is needed for allotment or working with this variable. Okay, so that is nothing but the memory or location of this variable. So this is usually represented by ampersand a, but value of this location cannot be known until the program runs. And value is right now when we declare in C language and before any type of initialization, its value is very unpredictable. That means it can be anything. Right now it is garbage. This quantity is known as garbage value. Okay, but if I write a equal to let's say 10, it means 10, value 10 is sent into the location A. This thing is assignment operator, not the mathematical equal to. So as a result, sorry, I cannot erase. It becomes 10. So
So
in
then,
our example, any?
sir, you said value 10 is set in A. So like, is A that place where values can be stored?
Please repeat your question.
So you said that value 10 is set in variable A.
Hmm.
So is this variable A there in RAM, like where values can be changed?
Values can be changed. Means, now, are you asking that if the value of A can be changed further, is it? Or
Yes, sir. So where is this variable A? Like if you can change the value, is it in RAM?
okay. No. Actually, until I go for any program, you cannot understand properly. But the thing is that where it runs means we okay. When value change, a value of A changes when it runs, is it?
Yes, sir.
No. I make your question because I cannot properly understand what is the value of A changes. Is it?
Yes, sir.
No. When it runs, it changes. Is it? Is it your question?
So I'm asking where is this A stored?
Oh, where the value is, where the value of A is stored. Is it?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that is inside memory. You are allocating a variable inside main memory or RAM.
Okay, sir. This is what I was asking. Like RAM.
Okay, and is address right now it is not possible to know unless it runs, but we represent address using ampersand operator. It's like an and symbol. So and a, it represents address, location or address.
Okay, sir.
So it is available inside main memory, but you have raised a very important question. All the time the variable does not reside in main memory. There are CPU variables are also possible, but I will discuss that thing when I get into storage class, because right now in a stage it is difficult. In storage class, you will find that location of the variable may be in CPU, maybe in main memory, maybe anywhere else. Okay, other places. Okay.
Okay, sir.
But right now you can blindly consider that your memory variable is available inside your memory, main memory. That means RAM.
Um,
In RAM, when you write int a followed by semicolon, inside RAM, 4 byte space is reserved for gets reserved, 4 byte space gets reserved for variable a, where we can put one integer. Okay, since this is the type of the a is the type of the data is integer, we can put one integer, and until I put any integer, its quantity is garbage or junk value. That means it's totally unpredictable. Like, nobody can say. Okay, but when I write a equal to 10, it here equal to means assignment operator. This is assignment operator. This is not the equality symbol. Assignment operator means set the value of a as 10. Okay.
yes, sir.
So
Then what is the name of that AND operator?
and operator means ampersand. Ampersand.
AND.
Ampersand. Amper sorry. Ampersand operator. Operator. Okay. Just this is the mostly the this is the scenario of dealing with any variable. Now type, I will not mention too much about the type, because type has different specifications. Some types are fundamental like integer. Some there are some also types where it is known as derived data type. So that is made from fundamental data type like array, like structure, this type of things. I will discuss that thing later. But using a simple example, probably you can understand what is the meaning of variable. A memory space where I can put data. After a while, if I write say a equal to 172 like this, then this value will be 172. Okay, so gradually we can change the value if required. So that's why this space is known as variable. That means it works like a variable. It's like a variable, we can change the value. Okay. It has some similarity with the mathematical variable, but in mathematics there is no such memory concept. Memory erase or memory putting some value into memory or getting value from memory, there is no such concept. We assume that a kind of entity which may have different values, but how do we implement these different values? Here actually we have the concept of memory. Okay, now using a basic C program, we try to understand the elementary features. Uh, just wait. Now, this statement is known as header file inclusion. Actually, what does it mean by it? Yeah, this is actually header file. Stdio.h header file extension is .h, just like txt file or any pdf file. Different types of files are there, so its extension is .h. It contains prototypes. Prototype you will not understand right now because I have to explain the function in detail, otherwise it is not. It contains prototypes of the standard library functions. Okay, prototype of library functions. Okay,
Then what
it looks.
exactly is header files?
uh,
Like
This
it is just the name of that.
it is just a name. It is a special header file known as standard input output header file, stdioh. There are many other header files. Actually we use in our C program we use some library functions. That means the function already that is available in C program, we don't need to define the function, we can directly use that function. So the library function you cannot understand properly right now. Uh, so, so for using the library functions, you need to include its appropriate header file. Okay. Here it is stdio.h. Some header files are math.h or different types of header files are there for different purpose. String.h for handling string operations. So most of the cases stdio.h is sufficient. Okay. Sometimes we need to include some additional header files. So this is standard input output header file. Okay. Standard input output header file. Okay. Now integer int a. I think I have explained this statement. And now main is a function where execution begins. A function, I think I had discussed that C is a function oriented language, or not function oriented, procedure oriented, where execution begins. Means if there are many functions, 20, 30, many different functions, but this function will be the first function which starts execution. Okay, main function. And I had explained the meaning of this INTA because this is nothing but a variable. Okay, which Address of this variable is ampersand a, name is a, type is integer, and value is not known right now. It is unpredictable. Okay. Now printf. Printf. What you write inside printf, it will be printed. Okay. If I, for example, if I write printf hello, hello will be printed. If I write a printf xyz, xyz will be printed. So if I like to get this statement printed, enter a value. Then we write printf. That means print the statement. Or display, better to say display. Because printing has some different meaning. I think if some of you are using printer, so these people will think that it will print on a paper like this. This is not. It displays.
Sir, where does it display?
It displays on console or terminal, whatever. If you are Linux user, it will display on terminal. That means where you run your program. If it is possible, if time permits, I will show one program where you will know about this type of issues. So displays the statement that enter a value. And scanf. Scanf actually reads value and stores into A here. The name of the variable is A. That means I have provided the location, and this is the syntax of scanf. The first one is known as %d is used for integer. This is known as format specifier. That means it specifies what is the format of data, what the format of data is. That means if it is integer, it is %d. If it is floating point data, that means 2.3, 3.5, like that, you have to write percentage. If it is character data, you have to write %c. For other types of data, it depends on data type. Since I have used integer here, so it is %d always. Same thing happens also here. Inside printf, we have written %d within quotation A. Now it has some significance because unless I discuss about the syntax, you
Sir,
will not understand.
sir, you said that scanf reads value. Where does it reads value from?
Where does it get value from?
Yes, sir. Like the user
Actually,
inputs the value.
I will try to show one demonstration of this program. Otherwise, you cannot properly understand. Actually, when we run a program on console, we have to supply this value, and this value will be taken from console into the memory location. Okay. Now, printf has two different syntax. We have seen printf. If you put any text here, so it will print the text followed by semicolon. Semicolon is just like a full stop of instruction. Okay. It will print the text here, and if we like to print the value of a variable, then we have to put the format specifier here and name of the variable here. Okay. Then it prints value of A. We can also combine text and value. That means we can write text here is, let's say, value. I have written in this format. So current value of a is, say, let's say 10, so it will write 10. It will substitute this format specifier with the actual value. Okay, same thing happens here also. It will write the value of a means, let's say, if it contains 10, it will contain 10. So these are the three types of syntaxes used in printf, and there is a difference between syntax of printf and scanf, because in scanf it is mandatory to provide location ampersand a, but in printf, unless the value of location is required to print, we have to provide only a, the name of the variable. That means is not required, value is required here, not address. Oof, there is some problem with that. Okay, so I better use one demonstration, but before getting into demonstration, let me explain the logic very briefly. What user enters, let's say user enters 40, or let's say 60, user enters 60 as a value. Here, enter a value. I am asking user to put any value, and that value is read. That value is read and stored into a. That means a becomes 60 then after this instruction, and then a equal to a plus 10. That means we are adding the value of a to 10, and then if you go back to the previous, this is nothing but an assignment operator. So actually what is happening, uh, 60 plus 10 is assigned to a again. That means the value of a is getting updated to 70. Okay, now what I am printing right now, it is 70. So I will not
What
print.
if user enters a floating point instead of integer?
Then we have to write the same thing, but instead of
Will the function run? Like if we put
function
60.5.
will, if I put floating point data, function will run, but there is a feature known as typecasting. You will not properly understand right now, where since I have declared as integer, its fraction part will be discarded, and only the integer part will be processed. And finally, you can print only the integer part, because fraction part
So,
is being discarded here at that line.
so if I enter 60.5, the answer will be 70 only.
Only 70. 70.00 actually. If it is, oh no, it will be 70, because it is not
Integer.
80.
Okay.
Okay, let me show one demonstration, because people have different queries. Unless I show any demonstration, you cannot properly understand. Okay, so there is some technical problem. I am trying to show one demonstration. Then I will upload. Let me check if that software is available or not. Available. VM Cloud is available here. This is virtual Linux actually. Uh, some people may have some difficulty in installing Linux. So this Linux is available as an application inside Windows. So here you can do some Linux oriented task without disrupting your operating system. That is very advantageous.
So this is an emulator.
Simulator, it's a type of simulator. It's actually like a player. Using video player, you play video files like this. So VM player is a VMware player. Name of this software is it actually plays some operating system images. So here actually I am using Ubuntu image. So Ubuntu is a type of Linux. So that's why it plays some operating system image as an application. So that's why I
Okay.
can that application I can run any Linux oriented.
वो क्वेश्चन नहीं है जो
Probably in your lab, you will get familiar with different types of Linux commands at the beginning. Because in our lab we do C programming using Linux. So let me check if there is any file or not. If it is not, then okay. Otherwise, there are several C programming files are there, but how to create a file? Okay, let us discuss. Using VI editor, we usually create file. That means so using VI editor, we usually write any program. Okay. So VI, let's say, okay, it is not, release is not supported anymore. Let's say name of the file is xyz dot c. Okay. So if you face xyz dot c, if you face difficulty in reading, let us zoom in a little bit.
एक मिनट क्वेश्चन मेरे को पढ़िएगा
I'm just
सिलेंडर
writing.
सिलेंडर कंटेनर रेडियस 6 सेंटीमीटर रेडियस चाहिए and height 15 centimeter is filled with ice cream. The whole ice cream has to be distributed to children.
All of you, please turn off your speak microphone. It is a little bit distant. So inside VI, using VI editor, I have created one file known as XYZ. I can directly write instruction here, but problem is this interface is not very friendly. Actually, I usually do is to escape and dot sorry. There is some problem with Windows and Linux interface. Okay. It is not very usual. Okay. I have used a command shift colon WQ. Actually, you will be get familiar with this type of command because Professor Kule will be demonstrate this type of things there. Just I have created one file here. So this is XYZ. In home probably you will find this file. Okay, this is some. I am using opening it using some other editor because this editor is little bit friendly compared to this one. So here I am writing the same code. Okay, so I have written the same code here. I think you can also check it. I'm scanning. This is scanf. This is printed. This is a equal to a plus 10, and this is just wait. Now this is how to run this code. First of all, we need to compile. Okay, so compilation is done using GCC. I think you will learn this command later. GCC name of the file xyz.c. Okay, and in next line you have to write dot slash a dot out. This is output file, execution of output file. So when we run, here actually something appears, enter a value. Can you see? Can you see?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Here we have to supply some value, let's say it is 60. So it appears 70. Actually, I haven't properly placed the interface because here slash n is required for starting this statement in new line. Scanf is required, and here actually if I provide value also in new line, just I have changed the code little bit and I'm clearing the screen. This is it. Now it is asking for a value. Let's say I provide one value 12 and the value is 22. Again, the interface is little bit clumsy, so I better make it little handy. Here also I write one new line after this. think some of you have done Java, so system.out.println, something if I write it inside it, then it will be printed in a new line. Same thing happens here actually. Now I put 60 here, so the value is 70 and it is the same format, using the same format. Here I just have written value, that's why it is the value here. I just have written colon here, that's why it is the colon here. I have written yeah, value here and space here, that's why it is appearing. So I can also format our user and interface as according to our requirement. So I think you have some basic knowledge of how to execute a program. Some of you were asking a little bit earlier. Some of you that how to run it or what do we put enter a value statement or like that. Do you have any query right now? If you have, you may ask. Okay. This program actually increments. What you are providing, it is incremented by 10. Now let us make it decrement. That means if I make it a equal to a minus 10, then same thing, enter a value. If I provide 60, it becomes 50. If I provide say 12, it becomes 2 in this way. Okay. Any doubt to understand this program?
No, sir, I understood.
No, sir.
Okay, okay. So basic program you have understood. Now you have to know about the syntax. Different varieties of syntax to deal with different complex type of things. Now, this is how we run a basic program. Okay. Let's say I am going to add two numbers like this. So integer A, B, C, and I like to keep the result in C. So enter first number. And it is the value is read and sent into A. Similarly, I write the next number, enter second number. So I like to keep that value in B, variable B, and here I have to write A equal to A plus B, because value of A and value of B, these two are added and that is assigned to C, whatever be the value. And now my task is to print, let's say I am calling it result, okay, value of C. First number I provide say 20, second number say 67, so it is 87 result. Okay. One of you had asked that if I provide floating point number, so what happens? Say, let's say first number is 23.78. Sorry. First number, they are actually accepting these as second number. That is the problem. Actually, this is the point. This is being accepted as a second number. So let us make it single number. Two numbers will not work here in this scenario. Plus 10. 34.66. It is reduced to 34 plus 10. Any doubt?
Sir, generally when we declare an integer and don't use it, the C will report an error, right?
If we declare an integer, don't use it. Okay, no, it will not provide any error.
Oh, okay.
But if you don't declare but use it, C will definitely provide any error. Just let's say I am not declaring it. There is some technical problem. Hmm. It's too difficult for me to show it. It's not coming properly. Okay, due to technical some reason, I get stuck here. So maybe you will do it at your home. You can do some experimentation at your home. But the basic thing I have